Hi, everyone, and welcome to AB Conversations, where we will help you CFP your way out of it. A podcast where you get into the minds of a couple certified financial planners on how we think and feel about everyday financial planning questions and what should really matter most to you. A healthier financial life starts now.
All right.
Okay.
How we doing?
Podcast number 4. The exciting topic of, should I pay off my mortgage?
Yeah, I feel like we get this question a couple different times a year.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, I don't know, let's start with who typically asks this question, right? In what situation or context are we getting this question?
Yeah, I think it's more often than not, it comes around the time when people are looking to retire.
Yep.
And they're wanting to get rid of an expense that feels significant, right? If you're now going to retire and your income is going to decrease, now
Right.
I have this mortgage weighing over me. Should I just pay it off and get rid of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we share the statistic, 50% of people carry a mortgage into retirement. Doesn't mean they like it.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So retirement, other scenarios or other contexts where we would get this question.
I think if people have savings, either non-retirement investment dollars or just, savings at the bank that could easily pay off the mortgage, it's the question of, well, should I take this asset over here to pay off this debt over here?
Yep. That's another good one. I think sadly, when we have a situation where a spouse passes away, maybe there's some liquidity with an insurance or something of that nature going into that. So unfortunately, that solo journey, it's probably the same mindset of, my gosh, it's now one income. This is my biggest payment. Do I just eliminate this? I guess you could put in that camp other windfalls. Somebody gets an inheritance or something. Do they take that and now make themselves debt free? It's nice that people are conscious of debt, right? We would want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
But then, what should be our answer to that?
Yeah, it's, again, our favorite answer, my favorite answer. It depends. And it depends on where the money is coming from, right?
Yeah,
and we look at it through the lenses of taxes.
All right, so let's stay there for a little bit. Yeah, because that's where I was thinking of going too. What are those things that we would want people to consider or share with us in order for us to give them a more personalized answer? So I like that. Taxes is number one, but let's talk about then, what does that mean?
So especially when we're viewing this through the lens of, I'm getting to retirement, I want to retire, I have all this money in my 401k or an IRA, should I use it to pay off the house? And I guess the key point there is probably not if you're taking it from a retirement account, because now that money will become taxable to you when you take it out.
Yeah, and if we're worried about paying the 3 or 4% in interest on that mortgage, and that's part of the reason we want to get rid of it, to pay 15, 20, 25, 30, individual tax brackets, to pay that much in income taxes, absolutely is detrimental. What if it was coming from life insurance?
Well, so then we would approach that from the standpoint of, what can you reasonably earn on those dollars if they were invested? And I think go ahead.
Yeah, well, the light bulb was going off on, we always talk about like the nest egg being your geese laying golden eggs. And I think oftentimes what you were hinting at there is, we have to think of the economics of opportunity loss, right? So that, to use the math, right? If you got $100,000 life insurance, you could just pay off $100,000 debt. But if you can make 4%, 4 eggs every year to help pay off that mortgage without killing the geese and eliminating future eggs, maybe that's a better way to go about it long term. Yeah, I like that. You mentioned before, though, what if it's not life insurance, it's not retirement accounts? What if you've just built up savings? I guess that falls into that camp. If you can make more in interest than you're paying, that's okay. But at some point, like the peace of mind of paying something off, that might be one of those situations where we'd actually say, yeah, do it. Get rid of the debt.
Yeah, there's certainly a point where the financial side of things says this is the best way to do it, but that may not always sit well. The emotional side of our financial lives, just knowing that it's out there is enough to disrupt some people's lives and days and nights of sleep.
Yeah.
As long
Very
as
true.
as long as the percentages are not that vastly different, right? If we're talking about a savings account and we're using 100,000 as the round number, right? $100,000 mortgage, I got $100,000 in savings. Should I use to pay off my mortgage? Well, if your savings rate, the interest rate on the savings account right now should be next to nothing.
Right.
If it's 1%, people are lucky. But if your mortgage is 3-4%, that might make sense to do potentially. If it's not coming from a bank asset, right? If it's invested, if it's just not retirement dollars, but it's in an investment account.
Yeah.
And again, it does matter where it's coming from, and ultimately, again, that leads back to taxes, right? Is it something that's either kicking off income to you that's taxable, or is it something that you bought 20 years ago and now you have a large gain over time that will be taxable as a capital gain? That factors into the equation too.
Yeah, and I guess my mind also goes, as you're talking about that, how does it fit into their broader financial plan? Which is where we're gonna leave, the world of some of these specifics and taxation and into, really situational conversations. But, do you plan on staying in the house? Is downsizing something that was going to be a part of things in the future? Do you have other debt that should be eliminated before this? I think we appreciate financial planning for what it's worth, knowing that it needs to be flexible. And sometimes kind of having that leverage, right, is not the worst thing in order to keep yourself nimble and have other liquidity in case there's some other risk or something else in your plan that needs to be addressed first. So yeah. I think that's one of those dominoes.
Yeah, I think we talked about it on our first episode, if we're calling it that. Again, the answer depends on, are all of your other, what we call fundamentals, already kind of, those boxes are already checked, right? Is your cash reserve sufficient? Do you have a good handle on your income expenses?
Yeah.
Right. If your cash reserve, if taking that lump sum to then pay off the mortgage would put you in a house rich, cash poor situation, that probably may not feel so great either.
Yeah, because I think we've certainly seen situations where, like we joke, it depends is the answer we have to give, because we have clients that could absolutely pay off these mortgages, sure, but they won't, because they see the value to themselves in the leverage or in the flexibility. Where on the other side, yeah, we may tell somebody, because they're just who they are, how they value things, it is, I want to be debt free as soon as possible, then we need to work within those confines. But there are certainly dominoes, whether it's the taxes, whether it's the other savings, there's dominoes to the decision that you're making there. And we get the question frequently.
Yeah, and we talk about trade-offs often, right? When it comes to financial planning, oftentimes there's competing goals, or even just for any one decision, there's pros, there's cons, and there's trade-offs. To your point, it's the domino effect. If this is the decision, well, then here's kind of the trickle-down effect that will affect other parts of your financial life.
Yeah, and that's where I think to kind of button this up, that's where I think we can really be of value to people that, maybe aren't clients, but are having some of these big life decisions to make, to kind of quantify those decisions in a way that kind of shows some of the statistics, like we're comparing interest over time versus the potential to keep those geese that are going to be laying those eggs, or show how the dominoes of taxes could adversely affect things. I think it empowers people to then make the decision that's best for them, but not just the emotional side, also the numbers.
Yeah. So for all of those people out there thinking about, wanting to ask, should I be paying this off? The answer is maybe.
Yep. Give us a call. Let's dive a little bit deeper. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else to add?
Nope.
Great job, Adam. Well done today.
Take care now.
All right. Till next time.
Hey everyone, Adam and I really appreciate you tuning in. Please note that the opinions we voiced in the show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be most appropriate for you,
Consult with your attorney, your accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to making any decisions or investing. Thanks for listening.